Ignite to Impact.
You're listening to Ignite to Impact, a podcast to inspire you to make positive, meaningful change in your life and the lives of others. I'm Dr. Geneva, leadership strategist, author, and the vibrant life architect helping women design their best life. I'm sitting down with influencers to find out how they do what they do to make an impact. Today, I'm so excited. Alison Vaughn is my guest. She's the founder and CEO of Jackets for Jobs. Now, this is a nonprofit that provides employment, etiquette, career skills training, and professional attire. You know, that whole dress for success to 20,000 job seekers. Can you believe that? Since 2000. And in 2013, they opened up an office in Africa. And she represents the organization as a Goldman Sachs Scholar, a graduate of this firm's 10,000 Small Business Program. She's one of Martha Stewart's Dreamers into Doers, a group of entrepreneurs who turn dreams into reality. And she's just all of that. And we're going to hear about that and the wonderful influence and change that she's creating, as well as the celebration of her organization's 19th anniversary. Can you believe that? So many years in making a difference in the community, in being an influencer and an author of Miss Gold Digger. Now that's Goal. You know, we always talk about goals, getting your goals on. So she's a gold digger because she believes that success is sexy. How you doing, Alison?
Oh, my goodness. How are you, Dr. Geneva? I love you.
I love you, too. Back at you. I remember when you started, when you had that dream, Jackets for Jobs. So take us back. 19 years. Well, probably more than 19 years because you had the dream before you actually started. So how did that dream happen?
That is so true. That means I've known you for over 20 years then. I've had to have known you over 20 years because, like you said, I had that dream. And then here it is, you know, nearly 2 decades coming up to the 19th anniversary. So, you know, I had the dream. Anytime I do an interview, I always give God credit. Yes. So God, this is all God inspired. And so I always say that God is the creator of this business. This is God's business, and he just asked me to run it for him. And so basically, Jackets for Jobs is all about empowering men and women to enter into the workforce, making sure that they look professional, putting their best foot forward, not only to get a job, but to keep a job. And so before I started Jackets for Jobs, I had that HR background, you know, hiring flight attendants for a major company. And so I traveled all over the world hiring flight attendants and living a lot of different cities. And then I said, you know what, I want to do something more. And so God put it on my heart to start this business. And here it is, you know, 2 decades just about, and helping so many Detroiters. I love it.
And what does Jackets for Jobs do?
So what we do, we have a great partnership with TJ Maxx. So I hope all of your listeners are shop at TJ Maxx.
Everybody shops at TJ Maxx now. Yes.
Yes, I absolutely love TJ Maxx. And so this is so funny. You never know who's watching you because one day I received a phone call and a gentleman, and he's now deceased and, you know, may rest in peace. A gentleman named Jerome called. He was with TJ Maxx and he said, we heard about your organization and TJ Maxx, we do workforce development. We have a workforce development. We want to empower people and make sure that they dress nice, you know, since it's a clothing company. And so he said, we want to fly in and see what you do. So I'm like, oh, wow, okay. But not knowing much about it because usually companies invest in their hometown where they work. And, you know, TJ Maxx is headquartered outside of Boston, Massachusetts. So when they came, they liked what we did, and they said, we would love to partner with you. And I was like, wow. So my first question was, well, how did you hear about, you know, Jackets for Jobs? There are thousands of, you know, charities, organizations. How did you hear about us? Rhea McCauley, which is Rosa Parks, civil rights icon, Rosa Parks' niece, told Jerome about our organization. Now, I didn't even know Rhea McCauley. Of course, I heard about, Rosa Parks. Who doesn't know who Rosa Parks is? But her niece happened to tell this gentleman about our organization. They Googled us, found out about us, came to Detroit, liked us, they partnered with us, and that was back in 2007, and here it is 2019, so 12 years, and we're still a partner.
And so what does that partnership look like?
So great question. So that partnership, every quarter, fall, winter, spring, summer, they donate clothes for our job seekers. So when people come to Jackets for Jobs, they're getting brand new clothes right from TJ Maxx. Everything from head to toe, underwear, shoes, socks, dresses, coats, umbrella, you name it, anything for a person to go out for an interview. They supply the clothes, and then they have their employees, their associates, they volunteer as well and act as personal shoppers, because many of our clients, they have no idea how to put an outfit together.
Right.
Like how, Dr. Geneva, I see you sharp from head to toe every day. You have that option to go in your closet and say, well, I'm going to put this blouse with this suit, but many of our clients have no idea how to do that. Many of them have never worn a suit before. And so we have people act as personal shoppers and help them put their outfit together, helping them boost up their self-confidence.
Absolutely.
So when they come into Jackets for Jobs, they're either going for job search or a job interview. Their self-esteem, their confidence is not where it should be. So they walk with their posture down, their head down. By the time they leave Jackets for Jobs, they walk with their head up. Yes. They feel confident. They're like, yes, I can go out and get that job. I have the skills. I've got that self-confidence. And that says a lot, because first impressions are lasting. And just that boost of self-confidence, feeling like, okay, I've got this. I think I can ace this interview. And so that's what we're all about.
Phenomenal. Now, you didn't start out there. This is something you evolved into. Take us back to the first day. Take us back to when this idea first came into your head. What were you thinking? What were you doing?
Oh, my goodness. So that first day, 19 years ago, so as I mentioned, I was working for, United Airlines.
Right.
And so September 11th happened, and so the country just got scared of flying because of the terrorists. So United asked the flight attendants and the pilots, they said, would you all like to take a leave of absence because everybody's afraid to fly due to September 11th? So I took a leave of absence, and so I had that thought of, entrepreneurship, but I, didn't have any entrepreneurs in my family to, get that help from. So then I said, okay, I'm going to take a leave of absence. So God said, yeah, I want you to start a business because now is the time. So, 19 years ago, you had to go to the library and Google, you didn't have Google, I should say. So I had to actually go to the library and research books. So I researched grant writing for dummy, how to start a nonprofit, fundraising for dummies. So I had to do the library. Now you can just sit at home and Google things, but that 20 years ago, that wasn't an option for me. So I went to the library, got all of those books, and started researching how to start a business. So I did all of that just from scratch because I didn't have anybody else to go to. My mom was employed with General Motors, so she was just a corporate person, but she didn't know about entrepreneurship, starting a business. So I did that. And then I wrote my first grant based on what was in the book, grant writing for dummies. And so I did that. I was like, okay, I don't have a shoulder to lean on. Who can I talk to about this? So for those that are thinking about starting a business, for all you listeners, like, okay, I would love to step out. I stepped out on faith. I left United Airlines. I took that leave of absence. And then after a leave of absence, I said, okay, I'm going to do this. So I quit United. I stepped out on a leap of faith, not knowing where my next paycheck was going to come from. So that was really, really hard. But when you hear from the Lord and God will order your steps, that was the moment where I really had my faith tested. And I stood out on faith, leaving a job where I knew I was going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks to not knowing where my next paycheck was going to come from. And I never looked back, and here it is 2 decades later.
And so what did that first grant application say?
So that first grant, because when I started Jackets for Jobs, I started with the mission of just helping women. So my first grant was with the Michigan Women's Foundation. I'll forever be grateful to them. I received a $5,000 grant from them because they were all about helping women, entrepreneurs, helping women, organizations, anything that will help women out. And I think that's how you and I met, because of United Way. And I said, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to, sustain, this organization? But everybody understood the mission mission because the mission was empowering individuals to enter into the workforce, helping them with job skills. So whether you're white, black, male, female, Republican, Democrat, everyone understands a job. And so the mission was very easy to understand. And so, therefore, it helped me with it. So, yes, I wrote that first grant with the Michigan Women's Foundation. And then from there, you know, I was just on my way.
It just grew.
Yes.
And into you serving now.
And so now we serving men. So so the mission started. So when I wrote my article of incorporation and incorporating the business, it was to empower women. I was all about, I'm going to help women out. It's all about, you know, women. The women are the head of the households. If you empower the women and these single moms, then you help them become self-sufficient, and you can change the household. You can change the world. And then when we partnered with TJ Maxx, I said, you know what, here's a great opportunity. People were like, why don't you help men out? So then when TJ Maxx came aboard, we opened it up, and then I changed my mission to help men and women. And so now here it is, 27,000 people that we have touched the lives of in Detroit area.
Just what an influence on people's lives. So what have you learned? What's the biggest lesson that you've learned in these past 19 years?
Oh, I guess what I have learned is, oh my God, it's so many lessons that I've learned, so many lessons, and that's why I wrote a book, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the one lesson about being an entrepreneur is that you work harder when you work for yourself than when you work for someone. So as an entrepreneur, there is no 9 to 5. You are working around the clock. So 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm laying in my bed and I'm like, okay, I need to do this. I need to do that, because you're totally responsible. You know, you have employees. So I'm responsible for other people's lives. So that's the one thing that I've learned, that you work harder as an entrepreneur. And when I did Jackets for Jobs, and all the people that were coming through the doors, that were unemployed or that were on welfare, many of them did not have goals. You know, it was a generational thing. You know, their grandmother was on welfare, their mother was on welfare, and so they're on welfare, and they just think that, you know, this is just norm, this is how I should do it. And they had no goals, no aspirations when they got up in the morning. And so I said, you know what, I need to talk to them about setting goals. You know, not just receiving a check from the government, and not just sitting at home and, you know, eating cereal and waking up at 11 o'clock in the morning. Have some goals, have some directions. And so that's what made me become an author and write the book Miss Gold Digger, G-O-A-L, because I wanted them to have goals and not be a gold, G-O-L-D, gold digger. You know, I want them to be able to have their own income for themselves and not rely on somebody else to help them with their income.
And so how would you, you know, if you were doing a, you know, short story, short clip about Miss Gold Digger, what would you say about it?
I would probably say, Miss Gold Digger, success is sexy, because, you know, when you're successful, people gravitate to you. You look good when you're successful. And so that's why I have that subtitle there, Success is Sexy, because everyone likes to associate with a winner. Everyone likes to be around people that are successful. But I would just sum it up and say it's a CEO's guide to goal setting, dressing the part, and having it all. Because that's basically what the book is about. I talk about having a vision board.
Okay.
Because if you have a vision board, you can map out your goals. I talk about networking, because if you know your networking increases your net worth. And so if you could surround yourself with the right circle and you network, you will go up and you will aspire to do a lot more things in life. And then I talk about dressing the part, because we know that first impressions are lasting. You want to look the part, you want to look presentable, and you want to be able to command the room when you walk in. You know, I have a topic in here about be a stiletto in a room full of flats.
Okay. And what does that mean?
Mean that you want to be able to stand out. You know, if everybody's wearing flats, you want to be able to stand out. So people look at you and gravitate to you to say, you know, I want to meet her. I want to, you know, find out about her. Let's see if there's some synergy between the two of us. Like when I met you, I was somewhere and I said, okay, Dr. Geneva, oh my gosh, she's got energy. You had that charisma. And I said, I want to meet her. I want to get to know her. So some people, like you, just have that energy and that charisma and that aura about you that people just want to gravitate to. And so those are the things that I talk about.
Wonderful. Now, do you, in your book and in the work that you do you have steps or strategies that you can share about how you own a room, how you get a stiletto? What do you tell the people that you work with, the women and men that you work with, on how to become a gold digger? GOAL.
There you go.
Yes.
GOAL. See, now I feel like I want to flip that question to you, because you're the one that walks in a room and commands attention.
Listen to you, girl.
You're the one that walks in and you're Miss Fit and Fine. So you're the one that really, I should throw it to you and say, well, when you get dressed in the morning and you're going to an event, what do you think about? Is it a certain color that you feel like, if I wear this color, I'm going to stand out? Is it this perfume that's going to make me smell good? So those are the things that I talk about. But I want to ask you, because you know how to command a room. You know how to be that stiletto in a room full of flats. What would you say?
Well, let me tell you, what you just ran through about what color, how I'm going to smell, how I'm going to look, I think those are all part of it. I do believe in living a vibrant life. And of course, what I've learned is that looking good, feeling good, and doing good is what I want to do. And the secrets, I think, have to do a lot with how you think about yourself, how you imagine yourself, what's your vision for yourself, and how you activate goals. That's why I particularly love Miss Gold Digger, because I think those goals, the difference between what you are and what you want to be is what you do. Right. And that's why I think goals are so important. So do you get into that in your book?
I do get into that.
Of, the importance of goals?
I do. And it all centers, to me, it all starts with that vision board. Do you do vision boards?
Yes.
I think vision boards are so important, because if you visualize something, you're more likely to achieve it. And so if you have that vision in front of you, like for example, I wanted to lose 10 pounds. And so I'm flipping through magazines and I said, okay, this is the body that I want to look like. And I think it was a picture of Janet Jackson's body. Because you know how Janet Jackson, her weight fluctuates, goes up and down. But at this one time, right before she was going on tour, her body was just really firm. So I cut out a picture of her body, and then I cut out a picture of my head, and I put it together, and I said, this is what I want to do. So, I'm giving myself a time frame.
Did you post it?
And I did, and I posted on my vision board.
That's
and
good.
So I saw that every day.
Good.
And it worked. I lost the weight. And then another time, I was living in a condo. I wasn't even really thinking about moving, but I saw a picture of this beautiful home. I thought, I would love to live in that home. I cut a picture out of that home. Next thing I know, about 8 months later, I end up moving. It was just because of that vision, the energy, I just put it out there in the universe. And then it happened. And my home that I live in now is similar to what I cut out. And so things like that, if you want to just make more money, if you want a promotion, you want to lose weight, you want to travel, put a picture of an airplane, whatever you want to do, you just sit down, cut out those pictures, post it where you can see it daily, and that will really help. And then I'm a list person. I write lists of things to do every day because I like to stay on track. I'll put, Saturday, April 20th. These are the things that I want to do. And so therefore I'm able to accomplish my goals. And then the nice thing about writing a list, once you do those things, you cross them off, and it's a sense of accomplishment. Like I had 10 things on the list today, and I've crossed them out. Look what I have achieved today, So,
and what do you do with, and I just think that's, so helpful for people to hear. As you say, you set your vision, you have this image of the things you want to achieve.
Right.
And then you're very intentional because you create these daily task list, sense of accomplishment.
Exactly.
What do you do, and how can you help our listeners with, and I assume, that's a lot of in your book too, when you got 5 or 6 things on your list and you don't accomplish them? What do you do? Because, you always hear about, influencers tell us that they learn from their mistakes, that in success, in failures are the successes. And I would imagine, given how successful you are with Jackets for Jobs and the other many things that you do and you're into in the community, that you've run up against challenges.
Oh, yes.
So what do you do?
I pray and I go to my mother.
Okay. I love it.
There's a saying, behind every successful man, there's a woman. Well, I always think behind every successful woman, there's her mother.
I love it. There you go.
So, I go to my mother. She's my rock. She's my inspiration. And the one thing that she has taught me that I think is so true, never put off tomorrow what you can do today. Okay. Because I have learned through life and through business, each day has its own set of challenges. And so if you can do all that you can do today, do it, because tomorrow's going to have its own issues. So if I have 10 things to accomplish today and I don't accomplish but 5, then I have to put those 5 things on tomorrow's list. And tomorrow's list might be 20. And then you have 25 things on your list that day. And then that's when people start getting overwhelmed. They start getting stressed and not knowing what to do. And then sometimes you just throw your hands up and you don't accomplish anything because you just get overwhelmed. And so if you can accomplish all 10 of those things, sometimes it's hard. You do have to prioritize. Say, okay, well, this is more important and I have to put this on the back burner. And then you just have to get help. But sometimes we try to be superwoman and we can do it all. And then that's when the word no comes into play. It's okay to say no. It's okay. No is a complete sentence. And as women, we try to, say, okay, yes, I'll help you with this project. Yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll speak here. Yes, I'll take, the candy to the school to do that. You say yes to all these things. And sometimes we just have to say, I'm sorry, I can't. Sometimes our plate is just too full.
So saying no is a way for self-care.
There you go. It's self-care.
That's right. What other self-care strategies can you share with our listeners? Because, again, influencers like you who are successful, who've been in, business for 19 years, started off small, have grown, and now you've impacted over 20,000 people. You got to take care of you.
That's right. You have to.
How do you take care of you?
I'm learning. It's a challenge. Okay. It's a real challenge because I'm used to saying, okay, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do that. And so that's why I say now I'm learning to stand up and say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm sorry. Maybe another time. So besides that, I like to travel. I have that travel in my blood coming from an airline industry. Yes. And so I like to travel. So I've got this big event coming up Thursday, celebrating Jackets for Jobs event. And then in 3 weeks, I'm going to take vacation. I'm going to go to Florida and just kind of unwind. And just, so sometimes you just have to take those mini vacations. It's just for a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But that weekend, I'll unplug from the phone. See, we're in this technology age where we're always glued to our cell phones. We're glued to the internet. We're glued to social media. And if you're like me, you can spend so much time on social media. You go in just to look and see what's going on. Next thing you know, it's a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour gone by just looking and see what people have posted and just responding. So I think if I unplug from technology, I think that will help. And I think most listeners will agree, technology can just wear you out sometime.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I started using my Apple Watch to help me.
Oh, tell me.
Yes. So if you on your Apple Watch, you can put whatever you want to show on the face of it. Okay. Right? And so I have my timer icon on the face of my Apple Watch, and I use my timer. So if I'm going to pick up my phone and say, let me check out social media, the next thing I'll do is I'll go to my timer, I'll tap it, and I'll choose. I have the flexibility to choose 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, what have you. And I'll choose a time and I'll time myself. When that timer goes off, I put my phone down.
Oh, I love it. Thank you
Yes,
for that advice.
yes.
That is great.
So that's something that, because sometimes telling ourselves to unplug from technology, we just can't do. We really don't want to unplug from technology. When you think about it, we really don't want to do that. And so sometimes taking these little breaks, and then I also use that technique with other things. So like if I'm going to work on a project, and you know how, this thing about standing, and when you get to be, you got a long way to go. Okay. But when you get to be, you're looking at your 60s, your 70s, like I am, it becomes even more important. Although we say it to young people too, it becomes even more important not to sit a lot.
Oh.
So I'll be working on a project though, at my laptop, and be so engrossed. I know that's happened to you, and you look up and like 2 hours has passed.
Yes.
But I'll do the same thing with my Apple Watch. I sit down, I click my time. Usually it's no more than 30 minutes. When that goes off, I get up. I stand up, I walk around and do what have you. So anyway, that's
I love
just
that
tip.
It's a very valuable tip.
Yeah,
it's a very valuable tip, and I am going to try that because I get so consumed sometimes with social media, and I say, you know what, I've got to stop. I've got to stop. So I like that.
But it's okay, and like I said, I think that just like your like you talk about with Gold Digger. You give tips and advice. It's a guide.
Right.
There's a process. There's steps. There's strategies.
Right.
I believe that when we take these pieces of things and put them together, we can find things that work for us. And when they don't, we need to change up.
Right.
But I think it's the routine, getting ourselves into a routine. Like I was reading someplace where, they talk to, conversations with very successful people. One of the things they have in common is a morning routine.
A morning routine.
Now, I know you've heard about that. Do you have a morning routine?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
I have a morning routine, and I was reading that because I was doing like what you're talking about, taking tips from successful people. And I said, okay, there's a common denominator between successful people, and they have a very serious morning routine. They get up, they exercise. I know exercise is important. Meditation is important. They look at their list of things to accomplish that day. That's important. So for me, my thing is, and I've replaced getting up in the morning, because what I would do, I would get up in the morning and look at my phone and social media, or check my emails. And now what I do, I get up and I'm doing the Bible in place of that in the morning. So I get that spiritual foundation in the morning, and that's what gets me going, that spiritual foundation. And then I get up, and then I've started exercising in the morning to get the blood flowing.
Yes.
And then I, do it with my daughter and get her off to school and so forth. But I would say my spirituality, reading a scripture, and then exercising to get the blood flowing. Then I drink my full bottle of water in the morning, and then I get my day going. So I do have some common goals with morning routine. And what did they say? Anything you do after 21 days consecutive becomes a habit?
Becomes a habit.
Yeah, 21 days is what the magical number I read.
Right, that's
21 days and you have that habit.
Now, sometimes it take a little long. Sometimes it might take, 25 days or 30. But it's okay.
Right. Everyone is a little different.
That's all right. That's all right, because, there's always the next day.
Right.
And you can make adjustments as you need to, and it'll be okay. But I do think that routine is important, because routine talks about intentionality.
Right.
And great things happen with intention.
Right.
I believe. And so I've had a morning routine almost like forever. I
Well,
would
let's hear
consider
your-
that one of my secrets, but it has changed.
It's going to change and evolve
yes.
because of your lifestyle and different things that are going on in your life. So
Exactly.
So what I'm doing now, in a year, my routine might be different.
Exactly.
Because I have different things going on. So what are some of
Right.
yours, if you don't mind sharing?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, and my listeners know my routine because I'm talking about them all the time. So, you know, definitely. Well, first of all, you know, I believe in sleep, water, and exercise.
Okay.
You know, and so those are for me the three keys. Get great sleep. I'm usually in the bed 8-ish.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I'm up at 5-ish.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm always getting that sleep.
Sleep
trying
is
to-
so important. That's
so
why your
very
skin looks so
important.
good.
Well, thank you.
Because
But
they
the
say when you
sleep-
get the sleep in the water, and so
so the water thing again is important, and I put my water right next to my bed.
yeah.
So in fact, on both of my night tables, on my right side and my left side, I have pictures of water.
Is that right?
So, you know, I can't, you know, get out of either side without seeing some
water. Yeah.
So I do the water and then the exercise, you know, for 40 plus years, almost every day, I do some form of exercise, whether it's weight training or walking or just stretching. But that's what I do. So that's part of my routine. So
Well,
that
I
would
like
be
that.
get up, get out of bed, and get to it.
Now, do you do 8 bottles or 8 glasses a day?
8 glasses, 64 ounces. And then, but sometimes it'll be more because if you pick up a habit like drinking coffee, which I have recently, I hadn't been able to drink coffee for many, many years. It would make me too hyper.
Yeah.
But when you drink something like coffee, you have to drink even more water. Or if you have a glass of wine, you have to drink more water
because those are dehydrated.
That's right.
Well, I do the tea instead of the coffee, and I like green tea.
All right.
And so that green tea, oh my God, I'm bouncing off the walls. I'm energetic. I can conquer the world with a glass, you know, with some green tea.
Right. And you have to drink lots of water with that too.
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, you know, Alison, so what's next for you?
Oh, I've got a lot of things on the horizon.
Tell us. And then I know we did mention it, but you certainly are having your 19th anniversary this week, and our podcast is evergreen. In 2026, someone will be listening to our conversation, so they will miss this conference. But for those of you who will be listening to it before Thursday, April 25th, in 2019, Jackets for Jobs will celebrate its 19th anniversary. Woohoo! And you have Lonnie Love, a television host and actress and comedian. And also you have Taryn Asher, who's an award-winning reporter, will be your mistress of ceremony. So tell us about that, and tell us about what's next for Alison Vaughn.
Sure. So for our 19th anniversary, our theme is Suit Up and Boss Up. I love that, Suit Up and Boss Up. And so we'll be celebrating 19 years of highlighting Detroiters that have gained employment. And we're really looking forward to our keynote speaker, Emmy, and she's also an Emmy award-winning person from the TV show The Real. And so she is going to be our keynote speaker. TJ Maxx, as I mentioned earlier, is our title sponsor. And the first 100 people that come will receive a TJ Maxx gift card.
Ooh,
so that's really nice.
In line early.
Yeah, so you have to get in line early for that. So it's just a celebration of what we have done, and some of our clients will give testimony saying, you know, I didn't have a job, I came to Jackets for Jobs, and you know, now I'm employed. So we're really looking forward to that, and that's going to be held at MGM. So people can log onto our website, jacketsforjobs.org, to find out more information. And then we're always looking for volunteers. If anybody's sitting at home saying, you know what, I would love to volunteer, or I'm a fashion person, I know how to put an outfit together, and I would love to help somebody put an outfit together so they can go out for employment. Come on over and volunteer. And even if you don't want to volunteer, but you have a closet full of clothes and you're ready to purge, or you've gone through different weight sizes, you used to be one size and now you're a different size, and you have all these clothes you want to give them to somebody, we always say someone's future is hanging in your closet. So donate. Everything is tax deductible. We take men's clothes, women's clothes, so they can donate, they can volunteer, and they can support the organization that's been around for 2 decades.
I love it. And so what's next on the horizon?
So
what's your next chapter?
My next chapter is doing something with, and I can't totally reveal it yet, but it has to do with the book, Miss Gold Digger.
Right.
It's like part 2 of, it's not a book, but it's a part 2 of expanding Miss Gold Digger.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's exciting.
So I'll have to come back on your show to talk about what I'm doing that, because your podcast is awesome and you have lots of listeners, and I know that you're going to be around for a long time. So I'll love to come back and talk about what's next with Miss Gold Digger.
I love it. So what about legacy? We're going to, we're winding down, but I wanted to ask you, what, so your daughter, Sarah, is here in studio with us. What do you want to leave Sarah and other young girls her age? What is Sarah going to say about her mom? What do you want her to say about her mom when she grows up?
That's my pride and joy. Just like I'm sure your children are your pride and joy.
Oh yes.
And that's what gives me energy to get out of bed every morning, is knowing that I have a daughter that I want her to have a positive and a wonderful role model. I want her to see that I work hard and pick up my work ethics of working hard, making a difference in the community. So I want to leave a legacy for her to be able to have that in her heart, in her mind, to be able to help other people. I think it's so important to help and to give back. I mean, that's just been my whole life of just giving back and just doing charity and philanthropy work. God just takes care of his children that do that. And so that's why I have no problem talking about the Lord, because I know that God is the reason for what I do. And that's what I want to be able to leave with her, is that to help other people. No matter what you do, if you help somebody else, you'll always be taken care of if you have that good heart. And so that's my legacy.
Oh, I love it. Alison Vaughn, thank you for all you do, and for and seeing is believing.
Right.
And what Sarah sees in you, she will certainly get to believe in herself and believe that she too can make a difference like you're making. We love you and we're so proud of you and all your success. Thank you for being here on Ignite to Impact.
Oh my God, thank you for having me as your guest. I have been wanting to be a guest on your show.
Oh, wow.
And you are just the talk of the town.
Oh my goodness.
And so everybody wants to be on Dr. Geneva's show. So
oh, well, good.
Thank you.
We'll have them come on to the studio. We love it.
Yes. You're doing awesome things, and I love you. And not only are you physically beautiful, but you're spiritually and mentally beautiful. And so that says so much about you. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate you, and we applaud and say yay to all of the influence that you're creating, helping over 20,000 men and women dress for success, set goals, and have it all. Thank you so much, Alison Vaughn.
Thank you. God bless.
Ignite to Impact.